Hey everyone, welcome back. We're Anna and Ryan, and we're slowly building a small 440 square foot cottage on our 35-acre farm. So far, we've spent a few months on the design, permitting, and foundation. Then we were ready for the shed yard to come assemble the shell of our small house. On day one, the team arrived with 3 trucks and trailers, each carrying different parts of the build. One truck had the pre-assembled walls, another the roof trusses, and the last carried the floor system. First, they anchored the sill plate to the foundation, which forms the base of the floor system. Then they installed the main beam that supports the floor. Once the beam was in place, they started laying out the floor joists. 2 crew members laid them out while another 2 nailed them down. After the joists were installed, they added the band joists around the edges and started laying down the floor sheathing. One person applied glue to each joist, another handed up the panels, and a third nailed them in as they were laid. Meanwhile, the crane showed up and unloaded the loft dormer and roof trusses and staged them nearby. With the floor finished, they moved on to the walls. The crane lifted each pre-frame wall off the trailer and the team guided them into place. First one side wall, then the other, followed by the back wall. After each wall was set, they nailed it to the floor and temporarily braced it for support. Then, a thunderstorm rolled in and they had to pause, since cranes and lightning don't mix. Once the storm passed, they got back to work and set the front wall into place. With the walls up, they moved on to the loft, which came pre-assembled. Using the crane and guidelines, they carefully placed it on top of the main structure. 2 crew members inside made sure everything lined up perfectly. Next came the roof for the main structure. The crew lifted and installed each truss, securing them in place one by one. Then they repeated the process for the front porch roof. Once everything was positioned and supported with temporary beams, day 1 was done and a lot was accomplished. Day 2 started with the team splitting into smaller groups. Inside, some crew members worked on securing the walls to the floor and checking that the walls were square. Outside, others started adding the fascia, soffits, and trim where the wall panels joined. With the structure secured, they began installing the windows and doors. They applied flashing tape first, then screwed each window and door into place, and finished them off with trim for a clean look. At the same time, work continued on the roof. The crew laid out the plywood roof decking and nailed it in place while more trim went up around the base of the structure. Day 3 was all about wrapping things up. First, they rolled out the underlayment for the metal roof and stapled it down. Then came the metal roof panels, followed by end wall and sidewall trim, gable trim, and finally the ridge cap across the top. With the roof finished, the last major task was the front deck. They started by attaching the ledger board to the house, then drilled into the concrete footings to install post anchors. Support posts went in next, followed by the rim joist and floor joist. After that, they laid out and screwed down the decking boards. The finishing touches included installing the last window above the deck, a bit of trim work, and some final paint touch-ups, and a full site cleanup. Just like that, a house shell was up on our land in 3 days. Next up is connecting the utilities and finishing the inside, which Ryan is taking on solo. That'll include installing electrical, plumbing, insulation, a septic system, a bathroom, kitchen, and all the other fun stuff. All that will be a slow process though, since we are building this house in installments when we have the funds, in an attempt to not incur any debt. Be sure to follow along to see how we turn this shell into a cozy cottage.